Green Bay Packers heading to San Francisco, bringing the love with them, bringing Romeo for out their Dobbs, bringing Coach Eyebrows versus Coach Shanahan against the San Francisco 49ers, who are currently favored at home at 9 points, fully rested with 2 weeks off of that bye. Do you think they were preparing for Philadelphia or Tampa, or do you think they knew Green Bay was going to be coming to town?
According to Kyle Shanahan, they started game planning for the Packers quarter 2 of the Cowboys game. So they saw how much the Packers were annihilating them. They started game planning. So I do think that they'll be game planning for the Packers accordingly here. But we talked about this earlier with the Russ having 2 weeks off, having some rest. Are they going to come out flat in this game? I look at this +9, and I think that is an opportunity for the Packers to do what they did to the Cowboys, to a lesser degree to the 49ers, which is come out, get the ball first, score first, get a stop on defense, and score again. If they can do that against the 49ers, not only do I take them to cover the spread, but I'm going to take the Packers to upset the 49ers in this game.
Is that your gut instinct right now when you think about this game? You're just like, oof, Packers have to win it.
I think this is a Packers upset because for the 49ers, if they fall behind in this game
Hmm.
and they start to fall from behind, like we haven't shown that Kyle Shanahan can make those adjustments and come back from the lead. He hasn't done it since he's been the 49ers head coach.
Right.
And then Brock Purdy, how does he perform when they're behind? He's shown that he falls and regresses considerably. Christian McCaffrey doesn't run the same, neither does George Kittle. So I think Matt LaFleur has the documents. He's played against the Niners many times, and he knows what it takes to beat them. So I
Yeah.
think that this is an opportunity where I think that they're the 7th seed. Nobody predicted them to win. They barely even made the playoffs, but they're also one of the hottest teams in the NFL currently. So I think that as crazy as it sounds, as good as the 49ers are on paper, this team also, although I don't think they're as severe as the Dolphins and Cowboys, I still have a reminiscent of them to some extent. I do think they're still somewhat front runners, and I think that they have an opportunity to blow this if this game goes the way I think it could.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because the San Francisco 49ers have historically beat the Dallas Cowboys, especially in the playoffs. You want to talk about Matt LaFleur being familiar with the San Francisco 49ers. He's lost to them before in the playoffs when they got there with Aaron Rodgers, and then that was the year they got to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo maybe threw the ball like once
Hmm.
or twice in that game, and they ran all over them, not with Christian McCaffrey. However, I do think you have a good point there when you talk about the San Francisco 49ers in the context of the Packers have played 2 straight playoff games. You had a win or go home versus the Bears, and you had to go through a tough game because the Bears, you own them. However, their defense was playing like a top 3 defense the past few weeks of the year. You have the absolute stud on offense that is Cole Kmet. They were able to pretty much neutralize him. And then Cole Kmet is a cornerstone for any franchise in the NFL. So you look at that with what they could possibly do to handle George Kittle. Zaire Alexander showed up versus the Cowboys. So I think this will be a competitive game. And then you forgot to mention there is one moment to the San Francisco 49ers. That's basically like the black spot. If you've watched Pirates of the Caribbean, if you watch any pirate show, once you're handed the black spot, it's basically the mark of death. You've been cursed, so to speak, in the pirate world. Well, in the NFL world, there is one black spot, and he may be wearing khakis, he may be wearing a polo, he may seem like this nice family guy that got his outfit at J.C. Penney that his wife picked out for him, but he is a curse, and he is the mark of death for any NFL team, and his name is Kirk Cousins. And he is your actual cousin, not your step cousin. So he is sending you down a dark path you never thought you would ever go down. And that is no team that has lost to Kirk Cousins has ever won a Super Bowl in the history of the NFL. It's the mark of death. So I think with that, the San Francisco 49ers are in trouble. And then you have Aaron Jones, Jordan Love with this team, and Jordan Love is not turning the ball over, which is the way the San Francisco 49ers would be able to thrive, but they are able to protect him versus the Dallas Cowboys. I think they can still do that versus the San Francisco 49ers, which would lend itself to the Green Bay Packers with how they play. They get a lead, and push forward. And then Brock Purdy in a big moment versus Jordan Love. We talked about this last game. Which quarterback matchup is most important? We took Jordan Love over Dak, so we'll take Jordan Love over Brock Purdy in this moment. Jair Alexander and that defense played exceptional versus the Cowboys. So I do think that the Green Bay Packers can cover in this game. Um, what do you see score wise? Do you think it's a closer battle in this game, or do you think the San Francisco 49ers are going to start to get a little bit frantic the same way the Cowboys did?
I think that they can still get a little frantic. I don't think they're going to win 48-24 like the Cowboy. I don't think it's going to be like I don't think we're going to see Debo Samuel crying on the sidelines level bad, but I do think that
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but I do think that the Packers are going to get a lead and then maintain the lead throughout. I think the
yeah.
49ers can come back, but I don't think it'll be enough, maybe too little, too late, and the Packers upset them.
Yeah, in this game, I would go Packers 28-24. I think that's fair. But I do think there is something to be said. Who's going to be more comfortable in the big moments? Who's going to have more pressure on them? And then all the pressure is on Brock Purdy. All the pressure is on Kyle Shanahan. This is pretty much the same situation with the Cleveland Browns, even though the 49ers are the better team, have the better pieces around them on offense and defense. That if you don't win this year, are you ever going to do it? And you lost to Kirk Cousins already, so you're probably not going to do it. It's just, is it against the Packers, which we both have the Packers winning, or is it against a team like Tampa or the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be the Packers because nobody's taking the Packers seriously. And they're one of the hardest teams to game plan for because even if Aaron Jones isn't getting going, you have to defend all these receivers. And all of these receivers, they're all good, but they're not good enough to plan directly for, right? Like Jaden Reed, who is the leading receiver, last game didn't really do much in the Cowboys game. So you have to game plan for all of these different receivers who all do all these different things and you just don't know how they're going to plug them in and out each play. So I feel like they're the hardest team to actually game plan for in these playoffs because they have all these different strengths and they can really use them to their benefit to the 49ers.